chapter 5, Exodus. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says: Let my people go, so that they may hold a festival to me in the desert." Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord that I should obey him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go." Then they said, "The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Now, let us take a 3-day journey into the desert to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God, or he may strike us with plagues or with the sword." But the king of Egypt said, "Moses and Aaron, why are you taking the people away from their labor? Get back to your work." Then Pharaoh said, "Look, the people of the land are now numerous, and you are stopping them from working." That same day, Pharaoh gave this order to the slave drivers and foremen in charge of the people: "You are no longer to supply the people with straw for making bricks. Let them go and gather their own straw. Require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Do not reduce the quota. They are lazy. That is why they are crying out, 'Let us go and sacrifice to our God.' Make the work harder for the men so that they keep working and pay no attention to lies." Oh, right. Lies? Lies? Did this guy just call my God a liar? Lies? Really? Let's look. Let's consider all that we know so far, that we read. So they go to Pharaoh, right? And then I want you to think of Pharaoh not as only the leader of Egypt in those days, but many times we have like a Pharaoh in our lives, right? I'll try to think of a Pharaoh in my life. Who would have been a Pharaoh in my life? But a Pharaoh could be like something, principality, or a power, or something that tries to enslave you. It could be a habit, bad habit. Tries to enslave you, and then when you try to break its bonds, it doubles your workload, or they want to make it harder, or that principality tries to make it more difficult for you by giving you extra workload. So you can't spend time with God. You can't go into a journey with God or anything. Okay? So think about that. What is it in our life that is the Pharaoh that's trying to keep us from spending time with God? And a lot of times it's just total oppression. You know, hey, these guys, they're so lazy. Come on, man. Then he lies. Make the work harder for the men so that they keep working and pay no attention to lies. All right? So if anybody here is telling the truth, it's God that's telling the truth. So this guy's saying, "Oh, don't let them listen to that because they're lies. That's lies. That God's going to deliver these people." That's also another strategy of whatever it is in your life or my life, the Pharaoh, whatever this Pharaoh is, this this oppressor, this guy that would rather have you be a slave, principality, whatever it is in your life. And he's saying to pay no attention to these lies. Actually, it's the truth. That's the way some people are. Manipulators, liars. If anybody was telling the truth, it's this Moses and Aaron. So he says, make the work harder for the men so that they keep working and pay no attention to lies. Then the slave drivers and the foremen went out and said to the people, This is what Pharaoh says: I will not give you any more straw. Go and get your own straw wherever you can find it, but your work will not be reduced at all. So the people scattered all over Egypt to gather stubble to use for straw. Stubble would be, I guess, like broken, um, like weed type thing, or stubble. Maybe the part that they didn't cut whenever they were cutting the wheat, so they had to go down to the from the ground. This part that they didn't cut, maybe stubble. The slave drivers kept pressing them, saying, complete the work required of you each day, just as when you had the straw. The Israelite foremen appointed by Pharaoh's slave drivers were beaten and were asked, why didn't you meet your quota of bricks yesterday or today as before? Then the Israelite foreman went and appealed to Pharaoh. Why have you treated your servants this way? Your servants are given no straw, yet we are told, make bricks. Your servants are being beaten, but the fault is with your own people. Pharaoh said, lazy. That's what you are. Lazy. Somebody saying that about you. I've had it said about me. And sometimes when I was a teenager, I was lazy. In some instances, even now I'm a man, I was lazy. In some instances, it's not laziness at all. And in some instances, it's the expectation of what the other person thinks you should be doing. And so he says, lazy, that's what you are, lazy, with an exclamation point. That is why you keep saying, let us go and sacrifice to the Lord. Now get to work. You will not be given any straw, yet you must produce your full quota of bricks. The Israelite foremen realized they were in trouble when they were told, you are not to reduce the number of bricks required of each of you each day. When they left Pharaoh, they found Moses and Aaron waiting to meet with them. And they said, may the Lord look upon you and judge you! Exclamation point. You have made us a stench to Pharaoh and his officials and have put a sword in their hand to kill us. Moses returned to the Lord and said, O Lord, why have you brought trouble upon this people? Is this why you sent me? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has brought trouble upon this people, and you have not rescued your people at all. Very understandable. Moses is feeling very, and rightly so, now he's starting to feel compassionate with the people. He has concern now for these people. His heart's in it, Remember whenever he was in Midian, and he's like, nah, send somebody else. Now that he's there and he sees the oppression, he sees a people that was, well, all people are created beasts, but he sees the people, his people, that are now slaves, oppressed. Yeah, slavery back then, probably in Egypt, was bad, but today we don't have slavery so much, other than maybe the person who's a slave to their desire, a slave to maybe a job. Sometimes is like a pharaoh, or like an Egypt. Okay. Yeah, so now Moses is starting to feel concern for his people. Chapter 6. Oh, and he says, and you have not rescued your people at all. You just stating the facts like, hey, we were here to do this and you haven't done it. Chapter 6. Then the Lord said to Moses, now you will see what I will do to Pharaoh. Because of my mighty hand, he will let them go. Because of my mighty hand, he will drive them out of his country. Not only is he saying like, hey, I'm not only are they gonna let you go, they're gonna be like, let's get out of here. Let's drive them out like cattle. Let's do a cattle run, He will drive him out of his country. God also said to Moses, I am the Lord. I appear to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty, but my name, the Lord, I did not make myself known to them. I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan where they lived as aliens. Moreover, I have heard the groanings of the Israelites whom the Egyptians are enslaving, and I have remembered my covenant. Therefore, say to the Israelites, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. I will free you from being slaves to them, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with mighty acts of judgment. I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God who brought you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. And now I will bring you to the land I swore with uplifted hand to give Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. I will give it to you as a possession. I am the Lord. And Moses reported it to the Israelites, but they did not listen to him because of their discouragement and cruel bondage. Then the Lord said to Moses, Go, tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to let the Israelites go out of his country. But Moses said to the Lord, If the Israelites will not listen to me, why would Pharaoh listen to me, since I speak with faltering lips? It's a pretty good point, pretty good question. He's like, hey, these people who are my people understand me. They're slaves. They're not like these, powerful, terrible people. If they don't even listen to me, how's Pharaoh, who's the ruler of a mighty, probably back then was the most mighty nation, and who knows, this guy, actually, in Moses' case, I don't know, 20 years before, whenever he had killed that guy, Moses left because he was afraid Pharaoh would find out and kill him. So all that was going on in Moses' head, right? Okay. All right. Just give me a moment. Okay. I did not make myself known to them. I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan where they lived as aliens. Moreover, I have heard the groaning of the Israelites whom the Egyptians are enslaving, and I remembered my covenant. He heard the groaning of the Egyptians, or the Israelites. Groan to God right now. If you have whatever it is, even if you don't, I don't need God. I use my brain for everything, and I got everything under control. Well, that's cool. Try groaning to God, anyways. Groaning, something, groaning. This thing in your heart that God puts in there. It's like a passion so strong. And sometimes I think that's, God hears emotion. He hears cries. He hears your cry. So my word to you on that is that he hears you too. And when he does, he'll remember his promises. And there's a lot of promises. Therefore, say to the Israelites, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. The yoke is like the oppression. I will free you from being slaves to them, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with mighty acts of judgment. I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God who brought you out from under the yoke of Egypt, the Egyptians. And I will bring you to the land I swore with uplifted hand to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. I will give it to you as a possession. I am the Lord. Moses reported this to the Israelites, but they did not listen to him because of their discouragement and cruel bondage. And that tells me, that catches me in it. And the way I see that, verse 9, chapter 6, the Israelites, he told this to the Israelites, but they did not listen to him because of their discouragement and cruel bondage. There could be somebody in your life right now giving you words of life, words to help you um, grow, words to dislodge you from your spot, words to give you strength and passion. Just get out of that thing. If you're, whatever it is, that thing. And hmm. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, I just had kind of lost it. Okay, verse 9, right? Because of their discouragement and cruel bondage. And that I see that's so true for you, for I. Yeah, I see people out there that might have that word. I'm just gonna use someone else. Let's say I have a friend. Let's say that she's a real pretty friend, she's a good person, and I'm down. And I am discouraged and down because of discouragement and a cruel bondage. I'm down and out. I'm in the dumps. Okay? And that friend, and this is like actually like a real story. So that friend in real life, when I was like in this position, she said a few words at the right time, but because of who she is and the way I see and respect her, those words were like an explosion that dislodged this block or like a rock that was keeping me from rolling forward or moving. Just had me sit there like a block. And those words were like an explosion, blew that thing out of the way, and really like freed me. It had like such a great feeling afterward, right? Um, so that's in real life. Now let's turn that around and say that I didn't listen to that, or I've heard it from other people, but didn't snap to it, right? Well, in the point I'm trying to make is that um, maybe the first 3 days or 4 or 5, weeks or whatever, those words of encouragement were coming in. I heard them, I took them in, but I didn't, like it says here, they did not listen to him because of their discouragement and cruel bondage. I did not listen to her immediately, or I did not listen to other people's positive words immediately because I was, I felt like I was huge discouraged. I was hugely discouraged, and the cruelness that was around me had my mind constantly thinking about the events and the people that had hurt me, and uh, the whole protecting my parent or my mom from these forces that might cause stress or harm. And you might be in that situation right now. You might be so oppressed and so discouraged that you don't hear words that people are saying that are trying to lift you up and snap you, explode that rock, if you will, out of your life. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to let the Israelites go out of his country." But Moses said to the Lord, "If the Israelites will not listen to me, why would Pharaoh listen to me, since I speak with faltering lips?" Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron about the Israelites and Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he commanded them to bring the Israelites out of Egypt. These were the heads of their families. The sons of Reuben, the firstborn son of Israel, were Hanuk and Palu, Hezron, Carmi. These were the clans of Reuben. The sons of Simeon were Jemiel, Jimin, Ochar, Jachin, Zoar, and Shaul. The son of a Canaanite woman. These were the clans of Simeon. These were the names of the sons of Levi according to their records: Gershon, Kothon, and Merari. Levi lived 137 years. The sons of Gershon by clans were Libni and Shimei. The sons of Kohath were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. Kohath lived 133 years. The sons of Merari were Mali, and Mushi. These were the clans of Levi according to their records. Amram married his father's sister Jochebed, who bore him Aaron and Moses. That's Moses' mom's name. The other day I was thinking about that. Jo, Jochebed, Jochebed, Jochebed. It's either Jochebed or yeah, Jochebed, who bore him Aaron and Moses. Amram lived 137 years. The sons of Ishar were Korah and Nepheg and Zikri. The sons of Uzziel were Misael, Elzaphan, and Sithri. Aaron married Elisheba, daughter of Aminadab and sister of Nashon, and she bore him Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. The sons of Korah were Asir, Elkanah, and Abiasaph. These were the Korite clans. Eleazar, son of Aaron, married one of the daughters of Pethuel, and she bore him Phinehas. These were the heads of the Levite families, clan by clan. It was the same Aaron and Moses whom the Lord said, "Bring the Israelites out of Egypt." By their divisions, they were the ones who spoke to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, about bringing the Israelites out of Egypt. It was this same Moses and Aaron. Now, when the Lord spoke to Moses in Egypt, he said to him, "I am the Lord. Tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, everything I tell you." But Moses said to the Lord, "Since I speak with faltering lips, why would Pharaoh listen to me?" Come on, Moses. This is hopefully back again from the beginning, but not, now. Okay, verse 7, correction, chapter 7. Then the Lord said to Moses, "See, I have made you like God of Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet. You are to say everything I command you, and your brother Aaron is to tell Pharaoh to let the Israelites go out of his country. But I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and though I multiply my miraculous signs and wonders in Egypt, he will not listen to you. Then I will lay my hand on Egypt, and with mighty acts of judgment I will bring out my divisions, my people, the Israelites. And the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring the Israelites out of it." Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord commanded them. Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron was 83 when they spoke to Pharaoh. It's pretty doggone old. I mean, my dad, he lived to be 88 years old. And excuse me, I'm gonna grab this pen real quick. And my mom currently is 84. But they lived to be like 120 or something. So let's see. Okay. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "When Pharaoh says to you, 'Perform a miracle,' then say to Aaron, 'Take your staff and throw it down before Pharaoh, and it will become a snake.'" So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and did just as the Lord had commanded. Aaron threw his staff down in front of Pharaoh and his officials, and it became a snake. Pharaoh then summoned wise men and sorcerers, and the Egyptian magicians also did the same things with their secret arts. Each one threw down his staff, and it became a snake. But Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs. Yet Pharaoh's heart became hard, and he would not listen to them, just as the Lord had said. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Pharaoh's heart is unyielding. He refuses to let the people go. Go to Pharaoh in the morning as he goes out to the water. Wait on the bank of the Nile to meet him, and take in your hand the staff that was changed into a snake. Then say to him, 'The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has sent me to say this to you. Let my people go, so that they may worship me in the desert. But until now you have not listened. This is what the Lord says. By this you will know that I am the Lord. With the staff that is in my hand, I will strike the water of the Nile, and it will change into blood. The fish in the Nile will die, and the river will stink. The Egyptians will not be able to drink its water.' The Lord said to Moses, 'Tell Aaron, take your staff and stretch out your hand over the water of Egypt, over the stream and canals, over the ponds and the reservoirs, and they will turn to blood. Blood will be everywhere in Egypt, even in the wooden buckets and stone jars.'" Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded. He raised his staff in the presence of Pharaoh, and his officials, and he struck the waters of the Nile, and all the water was changed into blood. The fish in the Nile died, and the river smelled so bad that the Egyptians could not drink its water. Blood was everywhere in Egypt. But the Egyptian magicians did the same thing by their secret arts, and Pharaoh's heart became hard. He would not listen to Moses and Aaron, just as the Lord had said. Instead, he turned and went into his palace and didn't even take this to heart. And all the Egyptians dug along the Nile to get drinking water because they could not drink water from the river. Even the blood in jars, stone jars, correction, even the water in stone jars turned into blood. That's pretty definitive. You know, it's not, no one could really, with this you can't really say, well, maybe it was just the algae in the Red Sea or in the Nile. It was beyond just the algae in the Nile. Even the water that was inside was turning into blood. So that's chapter 6. I'm going to go ahead and end it on chapter 6. We got chapter 7 in our next video. It's 26 minutes, boy. I'm taking a long time. I hope you guys appreciate that in a way, because I wanted to go through it, but I also want to expound on it a little bit instead of just the reading, have it as a Bible study. And the purpose of this is to get close to God. Second purpose is to read through the Bible, share it with you guys, members of School of Light, as a record forever. And eventually, hopefully, we will strengthen you, and the School of Light will also be strengthened and grow. Well, God bless. Read your Bible. Spend time in prayer after this. And you know, you think you're free now? Ask God to deliver you like he did the people out of Egypt. You think you're free? Oh, yeah, I got everything under control, or whatever. If you don't have this kind of freedom in here, it really doesn't matter what. You're not free. I don't care if you had everything taken care of in America, and you don't have freedom of heart, freedom in God, and this powerful relationship with Him. You're not free. You can be the richest man in America. You're not free. You're a slave. And so I invite you, or challenge you, pray that prayer. Pray to God, if there's an Egypt in my life, if there's a Pharaoh in my life, there's certain things, are enslaving me, habits, compulsions, things like that. Send someone to deliver me, break this bondage so that I can be free, and then stay strong in His word. I pray that for you guys. God bless. Exodus chapter 7 tomorrow. Have a good day.